The United States for the statement, and I give the floor to the representative of Denmark.
Thank you, Mr. President. And let me also thank Deputy Special Coordinator Alok Bara for his briefing. I would like from the outset to express Denmark's condemnation of the recent terrorist attacks in Sydney. We stand not only with Australia, but also with the entire Jewish community in rejecting all forms of terrorism and anti-Semitism. Mr. President, 9 years ago, this Council took a decisive step. In adopting Resolution 2334, the international community declared Israeli settlements a violation of international law and called for their immediate halt. It was an act of real solidarity in an effort to safeguard the two-state solution. Today, however, we face a situation of expanded settlements, intensified settler violence, and widespread displacement. Our failure to make real progress on this issue has long been deeply troubling. If we do not act decisively, it will soon be irreversible. The conflict in Gaza has rightly drawn the attention of the international community for more than 2 years, but support to Gaza must not come at the expense of our focus on the situation in the West Bank, including East Jerusalem. Mr. President, let me highlight 4 critical points. First, all settlement expansions must be halted immediately and any attempt at de facto annexation prevented. Continued expansion of Israeli settlements, legalization of outposts, seizure of Palestinian land, and implementation of the E1 plan are threatening the territorial integrity of a future Palestinian state. Denmark strongly deplores all settler takeovers and demolitions, including in the Silwan neighborhood of East Jerusalem. We urge Israel to immediately halt these measures and recall the attempts to change the demographic composition of the occupied Palestinian territory to forcible transfers and deportations are prohibited under international humanitarian law. Denmark is also appalled by the forcible raid of UNRWA's premises in East Jerusalem on 8 December and remind Israel of its obligations to respect the inviolability of UN premises. As underlined by the ICJ, including in its most recent opinion, Israel is under an obligation to cooperate in good faith with the United Nations. Second, Mr. President, we must prioritize the protection of civilians. More than 1,000 Palestinians have been killed in the West Bank since 7 October 2023. We're now hearing reports of an average of 5 settler attacks a day, the highest level in nearly 20 years. We call on Israel to ensure the protection of civilians in the West Bank and the wider occupied Palestinian territory in accordance with its obligations under international humanitarian law. Third, Mr. President, we must continue to support reform and revitalization of the Palestinian Authority and secure reunification of Gaza and the West Bank, including East Jerusalem, under their rule. While the Palestinian Authority is focusing on its reform efforts, resources are urgently needed. We once again call on Israel to immediately release all withheld tax revenues and to renew the relevant bank agreement on a long-term basis. We must prevent the development of parallel structures that might inhibit reunification of Palestinian self-determination. Inclusion of the Palestinian Authority in all matters relating to their territory is essential. Fourth, we welcome the comprehensive plan for Gaza, which was recently endorsed by Security Council Resolution 2803. Following the long-awaited ceasefire in Gaza, more aid is now coming in. However, we are still far from meeting the tremendous needs on the ground. We are concerned by the continuous restriction by Israel, including on dual-use items, and call for the opening of more border crossings, including Rafah, and continued access for international NGOs. Our NGOs play a crucial role in delivering humanitarian assistance throughout the occupied Palestinian territory. We are deeply concerned by Israeli registration requirements set to take effect on 31st December, which will limit our NGOs' ability to operate in Gaza as well as the West Bank. We call on Israel to ensure the rapid, safe, and unhindered humanitarian access in line with international humanitarian law. Mr. President, in closing, These demands are not new. They're rooted in resolutions passed by this Council, nor, regrettably, is the information in the sobering briefing we have received today. What must change is how we react. Denmark stands ready to work with all Council members to this end, to pave the way for a future of two states living side by side in peace and security. I thank you.
I thank the representative of Denmark for the statement, and I give the floor to the representative of